So, I don't like Dishonored. Now, I know probably not the way you was expecting this video to start, but it is true. Back when I first played this game over 10 years ago, I played a couple of hours, turned it off and never picked it back up again. For little 15-year-old me, it just didn't deliver what I was expecting. I wanted to be a deadly assassin, and most of the time I was just desperately trying to find healing items because I kept launching myself off buildings that I couldn't blink to properly. But Dishonored was a game that I always really wanted to love. I adore Bethesda games, and being a massive fan of other stealth games like Hitman, the classic Tom Clancy series, and then with its also similar vibes to BioShock, which is one of my favourite games of the 360 generation, I really did expect myself to love this game, but I just didn't. But now it's 10 years later, my tastes have changed and so has, well, my age. As an achievement enjoyer, I decided to set myself a challenge, play it again, and get every single achievement. Once done, then I get to finally have an opinion on Dishonored. So, this video is my journey through the game, for more or less the first time, and seeing if this beloved title can finally hook me and convince me to call myself a fan. So, that's it, let's get started. Welcome to the achievement grind. So, since I knew this game required multiple playthroughs to get all of the achievements, I decided on my first playthrough I wanted to go for super stealth and be a pacifist. No kills of any kind, no one alerted, a total ghost. I think that's where I went wrong when I was younger. When I played this game originally, I was a gun-toting maniac. I didn't need to rely on smart movement, clever power use, and the advantage of surprise, as I was just the type to throw a grenade, shoot, and slice my way through from point A to point B. So I wanted to give the other playstyle a try. The base game of Dishonored has the bog standard 50 achievements, and I need them all. So in my first playthrough I decided to go for all of the achievements based on the pacifist run, which includes the main story missions, Dishonored, excommunication, childcare, capturing genius and madness, political suicide, long live the Empress, this is mine, and resolution. These are the achievements you'll grab by just progressing the story and finishing the game no matter the path really. However, since I'm going for no kills and no detection as well, I'll also be going for these achievements, namely Vanished, Faceless, Spectre, Surgical, Ghost Shadow, Just Dark Enough, Poetic Justice, and the infamous Clean Hands. And that's not including the other achievements that we'll pick up on the way. So, I set off to Dunwall, and I was instantly reminded how stunning this game is, and how unique the look was. It didn't feel like a game that was already 10 years old, as like Borderlands, its style made it unique enough to enjoy at any time. Not that graphics dictate quality, but you get what I'm trying to say. After failing to save the Empress, we escape prison and manage to sneakily and stealthily get our hands on the first two achievements, Vanished and Dishonored, which were probably the easy achievements in the game, however, we gotta start somewhere. Now onto the main game. After meeting the gang who rescued us, we then got our supernatural powers from the Outsider, a human, I think, that lives in a place called the Void. He bestows his mark on those that seem worthy. Think of him as an edgy, emo version of Odin. Instead of gaining Mjolnir, you gain a spicy new hand tattoo and the ability to launch yourself immediately to your death. But with tattoo on hand, I was ready for the first mission, which was to eliminate the High Overseer Campbell, who is one of those peasants who double-crossed you at the start. And that's all you're told. The game drops you off at the shore and says, go do the thing. So we did the thing. Now I'm not gonna lie, I did struggle going through this mission without killing and silently. My urge to wander and explore sometimes stabbed me in the back when I found myself in tough situations where killing is the easy and obvious method. But I've committed now, so I have to see it through. And through exploring, I was able to find the first of Sokolov's many paintings that we need for the Art Collector achievement, so exploring did pay off in more than one way. However, after spending a little time working my way through the level bit by bit and meeting some lovely characters, we made it to the all-important meeting. Now, a touch of context, before the mission started, we were asked by this woman to save her husband, who Campbell is also planning to double-cross and kill by poisoning him with wine. So, after swapping the glasses and letting him escape relatively safely, we get our next achievement, Bodyguard. Now, with Campbell taken care of, it's time to flee the scene and meet Samuel on the boat for a clean getaway. Now, upon completing the level, we gained the achievements Excommunication, Faceless, and Spectre, but there was a problem. I had killed someone. Now, since I am a moron, it took me an entire playthrough to then realise the person who I had killed was Campbell. Now, for some reason, I didn't think the targets themselves would count, as you know, the person we were there to eliminate. But after hearing 2 NPCs talking about how to overthrow him without killing him, I assumed that's what we needed to do instead, and it was. In the building were clues and details on how to brand him with a heretic mark instead, which would essentially strip him of all power and eliminate him. So this time we put him to sleep, threw him in an interrogation chair and gave him a burning new addition to his face. Ah, perfect. Now, meeting up with Samuel for the 3rd time, I was finally able to move on to the next mission. Ugh. Now, the problem is, I didn't know who I startled, so it was impossible for me to go back through my saves and hope. So for the 4th time, we beached, I snuck, I scolded, and I fleed, and thankfully we got both Nobody Killed and Ghost. Honestly, even though I had to replay this mission 4 times because of my own incompetency, I actually was enjoying myself. Now, I don't know if it was because I had a more open mind, or the fact of the playstyle I was using made it trickier, and by proxy a lot more rewarding and fun, but I actually started to feel like the deadly and silent assassin I wanted to back when I was 15, so we pressed on. This time our mission was to find Emily, the daughter of the Empress that was killed back in the intro, and who we are very close with and very protective of. We need to bring her back to safety as well as eliminate 2 of the Pendleton twins, who Slackjaw calls
rich, mean and weird. Worse than most of their ilk.
So obviously they've got to go. Upon arriving at the level, it is then said that the way that you play the game will change the levels, the things that inhabit them, and even change the outcomes of the game. The more chaotic you play, the more you kill and burn, the more rats and weepers the game will spawn in, for example. And for those of you that don't know, this game takes place in a steampunk industrial age that is stricken with the plague. Swarms of rats pour into the streets and devour humans, and for the plague-infested humans themselves, they're basically zombies called weepers. Now, straight out of the gate with this mission, it is very highly suggested that I go and see a character called Slackjaw, who is the crime boss of the local Bottle Street gang, and nemesis to Granny Rags, a character we met in the previous mission who was completely off her rocker, but she gave us presents, so we like her. But before we talk to Slackjaw, we must explore. And so I revisited some old buildings for entirely new loot, as well as managed to snag 3 of Solokov's painting in the museum that had just opened up. And before you ask how I knew what the code to the safe was, I didn't. I just tried all the combinations until one worked, and honestly did this for at least like half the safes in the game, because I could. Now the meeting with the mustache heavy Slackjaw. When we arrive, all of his goons are now friendly towards us as he needs a favour. We need to find out what happened to one of his men. If we do that, then he will give us a key that unlocks a better path into the Golden Cat, a bathhouse for local aristocrats, but it's basically a brothel. This is where we think Emily might be held captive, but through exploring I actually had already found his lost man and the evidence we needed to immediately turn the mission in, and as a man of his word, Slackjaw gives us the key straight away. But before we leave, he then mentions that he wants the code to the safe in the art dealer's museum, and if we get him the code by torturing the art dealer in the bathhouse, then he will take care of the Pendleton twins for us, and even better, not kill them. Basically saying this is what you need for a clean hands. Along the way, it is clear the game is advancing with its chaos. There are more guards, new security towers have appeared that shine spotlights and fire rockets at you if you're spotted by them, and the aforementioned weepers and raps have started to appear as well. But thanks to Slackjaw's key, we more or less ignore all of it, and within moments we are on the roof outside of the Golden Cat. I then snuck in through a window to immediately hear 2 NPCs talking, one of them being the owner of the Golden Cat, Madame Prudence. So we do what we do best and choke her out in her office, steal her things, and throw her unconscious body into the corner. We also do find a note saying that Emily is locked in a room on the floor above us. So, like the hero we are, we immediately choke out a prostitute and rescue Lady Emily from her captives and unlock the childcare achievement. Before we can leave with Emily though, we need to find the art dealer and make him give up the code, which we find and he eventually does.
Oh, that's good. I deserve that one.
Then we trek back to give Slackjaw the code to the safe. Oh, and by the way, the code is to the safe that we broke into earlier, so there isn't anything for him in there because we've already nicked it. But that actually gave us an achievement, the Art of the Steal, which is great. But with that unknown to him, he keeps up his end of the bargain again and neutralises the Pendleton twins for us. With them taken care of, we meet up with Emily, go back to Samuel and sail away on a job well done. And unlike the first mission, we got no kills and Ghost first try. Once back, we deliver Emily and get immediately handed our third mission, to kidnap a painter by the name of Sokolov, the painter that we had met at the beginning of the game and the one whose paintings we are collecting throughout it. We need to kidnap him for information on the Lord Regent's mistress, who is also his financial advisor, and she helped in the plot to kill the Empress, so she's gotta go. For those of you that don't know as well, the Lord Regent is the man who took control once the Empress had died. The now Lord Regent framed us as Jesamine's killer alongside Campbell, and the Lord Regent is now the #1 baddie that we need to find and take out. So to do that, we've got to steal a human. We are then dropped off again by Samuel, but in an entirely new district. Now, other than the lighting differences, there isn't actually too much to really mention about this level. It's fairly similar to the playstyle of the previous ones, as we jump from pipe to ledge to roof. The most memorable part for me was traversing the bridge in the middle, and to be honest, that's only because I got an achievement for climbing to the top. But after several minutes we arrive at Sokolov's house, and thankfully this part of the level is quite fun. When we enter, there are floors of tough enemies, and I have to take them out to move on. Now, I did mess up this part a couple of times normally due to just being detected, so it was really fun to try and figure out the best plan of attack. I also spotted one of Sokolov's paintings on the ground floor, so I needed to grab that too. I immediately get to the strangling and the shooting, and not before long I find a way inside Sokolov's greenhouse, to which I do a little bit more strangling to cart his ass back to the boat. Again, not the most iconic mission, but it was fast enough to just enjoy before moving on, and the change of scenery did help keep things fresh. Upon completing this mission, we also gained Capturing Genius and Madness, as well as the surgical achievements. Oh, and for a really random fun fact, Sokolov is voiced by Roger L. Jackson, who is the voice of Ghostface. Now, I never would have guessed that, but the more you know. Once we get Sokolov in his cell, we bribe him with some expensive plonk, and he tells me that when he did the painting of Miss Boyle, he hadn't a clue which Boyle's sister he was painting, as she faced the other way from him, as well as giving us some pretty important information about the sisters.
Although I can vouch that her hindquarters are the finest in the city.
However, this evening all three sisters are hosting a fancy dress party for the rich and corrupted, and since we already have a mask, it is the perfect chance to go in incognito. Now, the reason why I adore this mission is that it reminds me of one of my favourite missions from any game ever made, the Whodunit quest from Oblivion, where you are tasked with killing all the members of the house without them ever seeing or knowing what has happened. I must have played this mission 20-30 times easily when I was younger, so when I rocked up to the house and was greeted with the same type of vibe, I instantly knew I was in for a good time. Now, the three sisters that host the party are all dressed in the same outfit, but coloured differently. There's a red, white and a black one. On the ground floor of the house, we have full access to walk around without the fear of being found out, as my mask looks like fancy dress. So it was actually really calming just to be able to walk around and talk to people, like this funny looking git. This desperate bastard is basically in love with the sister you're trying to assassinate, and he says instead of killing her, bring her to him and they can run away and be together and never be seen again. Which I thought, weird, but you got it. The only part of the house we weren't allowed access to was the upstairs, as that's where all the valuables are. So without a moment's hesitation, I knocked out a guard and headed straight up there to hopefully find some information out about the sisters. After clearing the floor of guards, I find two more of Sokolov's paintings, a metric boatload of loot, as well as information on which sister we need to grab, the one in white. After looting as much as we could and stealing so many coin purses from the patrons who did nothing to stop it, we actually unlocked the achievement Thief, for obvious reasons. We also then find another bone charm which completes the occultist achievement. Then talking to Lady Boyle, we guess her name and convince her to come to the basement as we warn her that somebody is trying to kill her, i.e. me. Once in the basement, we give her a healthy dose of sleep juice before delicately and effortlessly delivering her to Prince Charming.
Someday she'll learn to appreciate me. After all, she'll have her whole life.
And now I just feel gross. But that's it. We hastily leave the party, sneak through the level, and avoid the new tall boy enemies, which are normal men on stilt suits who have better awareness and that can shoot you. It's time to once again return home to get our next mission from the Loyalists, where we also pick up the well-mannered achievement for taking care of the Boyle target without disrupting the party, which I feel rather good about. Now, honestly, at first I was a touch confused at the start of this mission, as it had me going after the Lord Regent, and after only 4 missions I was surprised to think that we were already nearing the end of the game. But I maxed out on Sleep Darks, got an achievement for upgrading our kit 15 times, and proceeded as normal. This mission takes place at the same location at the beginning of the game where the Empress was killed, so we slowly make our way to the main building ready to take out the Lord Regent. Now, it wasn't clear right away what the non-lethal way of neutralising him was, so we had to go exploring. And in doing so, we quickly found the painting in this level above a fireplace, and after some more exploring, we found a radio tower, the room where all of the tannoy announcements throughout the game were originally made. After making the propaganda officer shat in his frillies, we are offered the non-lethal option, which is to find a tape of the Lord Regent's confession to the Empress's murder, as well as being the person responsible for bringing the rat plague to Dunwall and sinking the city into chaos. Now, because we are an explorer, we had already found the confession in the Lord Regent's bedroom safe, and immediately played it for the entire city to hear, as well as gaining the achievement Political Suicide, to which the Lord Regent then is immediately arrested and taken care of. We of course then swiftly leave and head back to Samuel, where we get the achievement Poetic Justice to neutralise all targets without killing them. Then it's back to the pub for celebrations at a mission well done. But oh no! Big twist and shocking revelation! We have been poisoned and double-crossed again by the loyalists who consider us a loose end, and thought it would be better for them to actually say that they had killed the Empress's killer, which actually does make sense, to be honest. But thankfully Samuel only gave us a small dose of the poison instead of the full bottle, so we do in fact keep our life. And that's where we meet Dowd, the man who was originally responsible for killing the Empress. He throws away our toys and locks us into a hole that Houdini himself couldn't break out of. I mean, of course I'm lying, it took us 30 seconds to break out and get back onto our non-murderous rampage. Our first port of call though is to get our weapons back from the hole that Dowd threw them in, and on the way we find a painting and meet a new enemy type, these weird annoying spitty acid plant rock thingies. But they don't matter. What does matter is that we eventually find our box of weapons, get them back for the This Is Mine achievement. I then find Dowd again, steal his key so that we have access to the sewers, and fortunately for him, leave him alive. But we did get an achievement out of it for showing him mercy, so worth it I guess. On the way to the sewers is then when I found another of Sokolov's paintings, also on the way finding the last paintings in a room, which then gives us the Art Collector achievement. Now we have returned to the pub, which has been turned into a base for guards and tallboys. After sneaking our way in, we find Sokolov and Piero hiding in his workshop, and that if we shoot this cannon, Samuel will come and take us there on our final adventure to go and rescue Lady Emily so that she may take her place on the throne. Now, this fortress was a touch intimidating at first, I can't lie, but it actually wasn't as tricky as I thought it was going to be. We then very quickly found our way onto an elevator to take us up to the top floor and close this first playthrough. So after taking out a couple of extra guards, we find our way to Havelock, who has also killed other leaders to resume full control for himself. So we knock him out, grab the key to Emily's room and open the door to Long Live the Empress and the end of the game. And thankfully at the end we also unlocked all of the achievements that I was hoping for. We got Shadow, Ghost, Resolution, and most importantly, Clean Hands. We then got the end cinematic telling us, oh what a nice bloke we are and how gorgeous the world is now, before getting our last pacifist achievement, Just Dark Enough. And honestly, I wasn't expecting it to be as short as it was, and even though I had to redo some missions and take a very slow approach to it, we still completed it all within like 10 hours maximum. But I have enjoyed every moment for the most part. There were some occasional areas that gave me a bit of arseache, but nothing that even began to disrupt the fun that I was having during the game. But now it's time to go through it all over again, but this time to grab all of the achievements that require me to kill to get them, as well as a couple that I missed during my first playthrough, and also to end with a high chaos rating. The achievements that I will be going for in this playthrough is Alive Without Breath, An Unfortunate Accident, Back Home, Big Boy, Cleaner, Creepy Crawly, Dunwall in Chaos, Food Chain, Gentleman Caller, Harm's Way, Hornet's Nest, Inhabitant, Lights Out, Manipulation, Merchant of Disorder, Razor Rain, Regicide, Rogue, Tempest, The Escapist, Speed of Darkness, Street Conspiracy, Versatile, and Wall of Sparks. Jesus. But by completing all of these achievements in my second playthrough, we have made it so that we have 49 out of 50. So we set out into the world of Dunwall once again, but this time we caused havoc. Now I'm not going to go through the entire campaign again, but the first achievements we crossed off the list straight away was Rogue for killing 10 enemies unaware. We then got Wall of Sparks by hacking a wall of light to kill enemies instead of me, Razor Rain for drop assassinating 5 targets, Cleaner for killing a group of 5 enemies without dying, The Escapist from running away from 5 enemies without dying, Creepy Crawly for possessing a rat and using a rat tunnel, and then also Inhabitant by staying as a rat for 3 minutes. And finally, Speed of Darkness for travelling 30 meters in a second. Now, I got all of this within 30 minutes, so I was already making lovely progress. It was then back to Lord Campbell, who I set on fire and threw out of a window with 0 consequences. But before long I was already back at Samuel with my first high chaos mission completed, and honestly now being able to be seen and to use weapons was a great change in playstyle. There was nothing wrong with sneaking at all, I think I do prefer it, but 90% of Dishonored weapons, gadgets and powers are meant to be used to kill, so now being able to finally use them felt great. Now on to the second mission. I was quick to see Slackjaw and on the way picked up the food chain achievement for assassinating an assassin. Now instead of friendly NPCs, the level was full of weepers, rats and guards, which worked fine for me in my achievement grinding. As, because of this, I accidentally achieved Manipulator, which means we got 5 guards to kill their allies, so I'm guessing a couple of goons just got in the way of the bullets and took the damage for me, so thanks I guess. Now it's time to go and save Emily and kill one of the Pendleton twins with steam, which pretty much excited me. I thought it was going to be kind of like Hitman. I need to draw him into the room or wait for the perfect time to strike, but no. He's already in the room he dies in, and all I need to do was insert a handle into the crank system and fill it with steam, which got him killed and got me the achievement. A little lackluster for me, but we got an unfortunate accident from it. We then move on to the other Pendleton twin, stab him through his rich, stupid throat and go to save Emily again. However, you know how the rest goes, we slice and dice back to Slackjaw, give him the code again before heading back to Samuel. Once back, we quickly possess a fish for Alive Without Breath. During the next mission, nothing really notable happened other than grinding for the Hornet's Nest achievement, where we stopped time and shot 4 people in the head so that it killed them all in under a second. But that's really it. We killed our way to Sokolov, kidnapped him, and you know the rest. It is also worth mentioning that running and gunning makes this game so much easier and quicker. You don't have to rely on smart movement and powers and whatnot, just enter a room, throw a load of shit at them, and job's a good one. Now it was party time again, and we did need to cross some stuff off the list here. First and foremost, we killed a tall boy with nothing but a sword for the big boy achievement. We also still tricked Lady Boyle into the basement, but this time instead of kindly putting her to bed, we stuck a sword through her skull and threw her corpse to her eager lover. On the way back, we also got Tempest by throwing a grenade at a swarm of 6 weepers and instantly killing them all, but nothing of note after that. We went home and immediately went out to kill the Lord Regent. Now again, nothing of value is really worth mentioning here. I killed everyone I saw on my way to the Lord Regent's office, and when I got there, I shot him in the head and stabbed him in the back before running him all the way back to the start. You know the drill here as well. We get poisoned, taken away, we escape, get our loot, but this time once we get our items back, we kill every character with an offensive item so that we get the versatile achievement. And I actually did kill Dodd this time, who turns out to be another one of the Outsider's chosen ones. After a slow motion fight, we have him on his knees as he begs for his life.
Made me believe I was powerful.
So here we're going to get 2 achievements, Gentleman Caller for killing Slackjaw and siding with Granny, and Street Conspiracy for siding with Slackjaw and killing Granny Rags. Since she is a strong ass witch, the way that we need to defeat her is by burning a cameo in the furnace to weaken her enough to kill. Once we burn that, she appears angrily and we give her a wonderful taste of bullets before rescuing Slackjaw for the first achievement. We then reload the save and instantly cleave Slackjaw's head off and throw him into a bubbling cauldron before Granny Rags gives us our final gift and, more importantly, the achievement. We then call for Samuel one last time and head to the lighthouse again to finish the game and hopefully get almost all the achievements done. So fun fact, this time when Samuel drops you off, instead of saying one day he hopes we meet again for a drink, this time he says you're a prick and goes to alert everyone that you have arrived by firing his gun. So we also took care of that. Now the only achievements left we needed to grind right now are Back Home, Lights Out and Harm's Way. Back Home we tackled first after finally finding an enemy who consistently threw grenades. The next achievement was Harm's Way. I had to make 5 characters kill themselves. My idea was that if they shoot me, I can stop time, possess them and have them walk in front of their own bullets. Now this was tricky to time, but eventually it worked and 5 suicides later we had the achievement. The last now was the simplest one. We just had to turn off or hack 5 of the security devices through this level. So we disabled the tower's tank as well as 2 walls of light, we shut down this arc pylon and finally hacked the last one for the achievement to pop. And that was it, all side achievements completed, and the last part of this playthrough was to simply finish on high chaos. So we sprinted to the top of the tower where Havelock was about to kill Emily, we saved her life as Havelock plummets to the floor, and the chaos ending got us the Dunwall in Chaos achievement of course. But more importantly, we are now at 49 out of 50 achievements done. The last achievement that we now need is mostly Flesh and Steel, which unlocks when we complete the game without buying or upgrading any powers. Just use base blink and that's it. It sounded daunting at first, admittedly, to have to go through the entire game again, but realising that the high chaos run only took me 4 hours, and a good hour of that was me grinding achievements, I actually thought this could be quite easy. So for the final time, we set off to Dunwall, killed Campbell, saved Emily, killed the Pendleton twins, kidnapped Sokolov, killed Lady Boyle, killed the Lord Regent, got double crossed, made our way back, went to the lighthouse, assassinated Havelock and rescued Emily. Honestly, there isn't really anything to note about this playthrough. It was a decent blend of stealth and aggression, but since I wanted to go through this as soon as possible, for the most time I was just blinking around the place at the speed of light. We then opened the door to Emily and got our final achievement, 50 out of 50. And on the whole, I was totally wrong about this game. I'm not sure if it's because I had more of an open mind or an alternate goal, but I just thoroughly enjoyed playing this game and it did give me exactly what I wanted. Yeah, some things weren't 100% the best and it did feel like they prioritised a higher chaos run over a stealthy one, but I enjoyed all the different playstyles I used and honestly would probably play through this game again sometime. Now, I wouldn't say any of the achievements in this base game are too difficult either. Some of them are grindy and some of them will have you focusing on a specific task for 20 minutes. However, this cannot be said for the 30 DLC achievements. I've avoided mentioning them in the video so far as I will be doing a part 2 where we get all of the 30 achievements in the DLC missions, and let me tell you about the Dunwall City Trial achievements. They are completely batshit hard, they're buggy, they're brutal, and they are outright unfair. But I'm going to be saving that for the next video, so look forward to that as I have a lot to say about the last 30 achievements. I needed to fully 100% this game. But that's all from me today, folks. Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you did enjoy the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more achievement grinding and videos, and whilst you're at it, why not come follow me on Twitch as well, where I'll be grinding achievements for future videos live. It would be lovely to have you. But again, thank you all, have a great day, and I will see you soon. Take care, bye bye for now.